Welcome, everyone. That was surprising, hopefully. Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to The Leap. I'll explain a little bit more about why that's important later. My name is Eric Offenbeck. I have the distinct pleasure, mostly, of serving as your MC tonight. But I have also served as the Interim Executive Director for QF and the Director of Programs, as many of you know. Thank you for being here. I want to start with a few thank yous. I'll talk a little bit about how the program's going to go this evening and tell you a little bit about why QF is passionate about bringing together the three sectors. A few thank yous first. First, to Governor Hickenlooper, certainly, for being here. His leadership in the state has showed us all, I believe, in a truly bipartisan way, what community leadership truly feels like. So we want to say thank you very much. Additionally, I'm catching my breath from that jump. There's a little bit too. We'd also like to thank the past governors, Governor Owens, Ritter, Romer, and Land, who are all living. Because without their support of QF and our programs of the Governor's Fellowship Program, this wouldn't be possible. So they couldn't be here tonight, but we wanted to say thank you anyways. And Treasurer Walker Stapleton and Congressman Jared Polis both send their regrets for not being able to make it as well. So we did attempt to get them, but post-primary, they're a little bit busy right now. Next, I just want to say a quick thank you to our three partners. Betcher Foundation, Katie Kramer is here. These programs would not be possible without the support of Katie and Betcher trustees. So we just want to say thank you for believing in us. We're honored to carry the torch for civic leadership. We also want to thank the University of Denver, Chancellor Rebecca Chop, David Greenberg, David Miller. Their leadership has really enabled the first QF program, which is our breakfast series, turned into an afternoon series now called The Session, which is a great way to connect with one another. So check out some of the session events coming up soon. And finally, we want to thank McKinsey & Company, our thought partner. McKinsey & Company really embodies what it means to be a community leader as well as a corporation. And we appreciate their partnership in not only the McKinsey Academy QF Fellowship Program, which you'll hear about later tonight, but their partnership in QF overall. So thanks to Frankie Bevins for being here and other managing partners of the Denver office. Perhaps most importantly, I want to thank all of you. Many of you traveled as far away as the Western Slope, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, Eastern Plains. Some of you just walked across Civic Center Park. But we're glad you're all here. Thanks for being here to celebrate really the joining of the three sectors and these important fellowship programs. So why the leap? The leap, I mean, if you define it in the dictionary, it's a jump. It's a jump to a great height with great force. And what does that mean for our fellowship programs? Well, for our fellows, this leap, when you're entering the programs, is a leap of faith that you believe this will enhance your leadership capabilities, not only for yourself, but for your company and your community. Most importantly, your community. At QF, we believe, and you're probably wondering why you're sitting in this little in the round situation here, we believe QF stands in the middle of the three sectors, the public, the private, and the nonprofit. Not necessarily seated right here. By the way, there is going to be some audience participation here shortly. You'll notice underneath your program a card. Blue, red, or yellow. In a moment, we'd like you to stand once your card is called. I'm going to start with the blue. With those with the blue card, please stand up. Blue. Tonight, you represent the private sector, the engine of our economy. In our community, though, each sector supports one another. So the private sector your job is to support the social nonprofit sector with your time, your energy, and your resources. But also supporting the public sector with your creativity, your collaboration, and certainly critical thoughts. Let's be honest. Thank you for doing what you do. You may be seated. Yellow. Yellow card, not the band. Hopefully I'm the only one who didn't get that joke. Yellow represents the public sector. The public sector, of course, is the foundation of our community and our democracy. It's your job, public sector, to, well, sort of keep the private sector in check, I guess, but certainly inspire the private sector and the social sector on what it means to be a citizen. You inspire citizenship in each one of us, and without the public sector, we would not be as great of a state as we are today. Thank you. You may be seated. And now red, surprisingly. Please stand up. Wow, we picked a lot of red this time. Red represents the nonprofit or social sector. This sector inspires us to serve, to help others, inspires the private sector to give their time, energy, and resources to better our community, inspires the public sector to connect with the private sector and build partnerships that can actually last longer than, say, a year. Thank you for what you do, not only nonprofit organizations, but foundations. It helps bridge the gap between private and public. Thank you. You can be seated as well. So how's that for a little audience participation? We're hoping this is not just a random event that you have to go to on a Thursday night. This is meant to be an experience. We hope you feel this. And if you don't, please find me afterwards and we'll talk. At QF, for the agenda for the evening, we're going to recognize each of our fellowship programs. First, the Governor's Fellowship, inspiring private and nonprofit leaders to consider ascending government. Next, we're going to honor our social enterprise fellows, grad students at the University of Denver. And finally, our McKinsey Academy at QF cohort. Now, each of these mini programs within the program will include a phenomenal keynote speaker, and we have a great speaker lined up to tee everything up, but I'm not going to spoil the surprise until after my short video. At QF, we are here to develop the future leaders of Colorado. That is our mission, that is our purpose, and our purpose is to combine all three sectors, knock down the silos to make sure that we are all working together for a better community. And I could tell you what future leaders of Colorado look like, but you didn't come here to listen to me. So I'd rather show you what the future leaders of Colorado look like.
The leader of tomorrow is much like the leader of yesterday. Any true leader is one that inspires others to bring out the best in themselves.
Well, I believe the leader of tomorrow for sure looks like a woman, for starters. And we can find somebody who's very inclusive and collaborative, but also at the same time thoughtful and decisive and empowering to those around them.
Well, I think a leader of tomorrow has three qualities. One is to be dynamic, and one is to evolve, and the other is to respect diverse thinking.
The leader of tomorrow feels like a person who is inclusive and builds followership. So what that means is that they're leading because others are pushing forward kind of a common vision.
We're entering a place where boundaries are getting blurred constantly and where disruptions happen at a rapid rate. And a leader who can't quickly adjust to those disruptions, envision them before they're happening, is probably not going to exist long in that society.
The leader of tomorrow is someone that has the ability to bridge multiple sectors, but also has the capability to be multilingual. And that means someone that can speak nonprofit, that can speak government, that can speak private sector, and that also has the ability to engage community at a very different level.
I think a good leader inspires action, but also fun and cooperation and collaboration, and I hope to embody those myself sometime.
The kind of leader I want to become is one that's not afraid of risk, and someone who sees an opportunity and goes for it.
I want to become the type of leader that solves complex problems in the world with innovative solutions. I want to be a humble leader, yet impactful.
I think it's a leader that reaches not only success, but also reaches significance and also transcendence.
What am I putting into the system? what am I building? What am I creating? What am I leaving behind? Not what am I taking with me?
Anyone can be successful financially in work, but to be significant means you're making a true impact on your community and those around you.
I think success is more of a definition. I think society often defines that for us, and even if we're defining it for ourselves, it's the stage we want to get to or a status we want to get to. But significance is more of this feeling.
Success feels like something that is time-bound or present in the current moment, whereas significance is something that lasts beyond either a person or an idea.
So you have someone that is successful in their own way. You have someone that is significant. They will mark a point in history, and they will have that transcendence throughout the years to come.
How about a round of applause for our first Significance, not success. That is at the core of what we strive to be at Key Up. And to introduce our first keynote to talk about what it means to be a community leader in Colorado, it is my pleasure and I'm humbled to introduce this next gentleman who has been a true business leader in Colorado, but truly has stepped up in the community when the community asked. Jerry Stead is here this evening, Executive Chairman of DTN. Prior to DTN, Jerry Stead was Chairman and CEO of IHS Markit after the merger, but before that was Chairman of IHS and led it through the IPO and then led through the merger of IHS and Markit and now, and actually ended his tenure there January 31st of last year. And so we are deeply honored Jerry is here to speak with us today because Jerry is not just a business leader. He stepped up during the floods in Colorado when Governor Hickenlooper called, which he may talk about, but we'll see. It's my deep pleasure to welcome Jerry Stead.
It's going to do a somersault. It's great to be here tonight. I'm particularly pleased that we've got all three sectors here. What I'm going to do is share an event that I started to lead 12 years ago that takes all three together. And I'll tell you where we're at today. I've been blessed over the last 39 years. I've led 9 public companies, supported about 400,000 people. During that same period, I've been on 35 public boards. During that same period, I've led 19 nonprofit organizations. And during that same period, I've been involved in actually 11 different states, everything from serving in California when I was running Ingram Micro, chairing in 1997 and 98 the governor's education program, to having the pleasure of working with John on the flood recovery from 2013 and 14 here. And each of those has been a great pleasure. I'm going to give you just an example of how we brought all those together, and then share with you how I think what everything is in common. My mother died of Alzheimer's, 15 years ago. And at the time I was on the National Alzheimer's Association because I wanted to help fix it. It wasn't moving fast enough. If you knew me, nothing ever moves quick enough, including myself. So I started looking for someone that could help us. And I found a gentleman named Dr. Eric Ryman. You'll find him today in every Alzheimer's study, including the one that was in the New York Times last week. And Eric had a dream, and my job over the years is take a dream, take it into a vision, and then turn it into reality. See, that's what I think we are as leaders. Take a dream, turn it into a vision, and then turn that into reality. So we sat down and told me what he wanted to do. And we started out with no money. Today, we're doing a $900 million study, prevention study, by the way. We agreed up front we were not going to spend the time and money to try to cure it after it happened. We're going to try to prevent it. We agreed that we provide the best training and development for people that are having to be caretakers for Alzheimer's Alzheimer's patients. You may not know this, half of the caretakers in the world for Alzheimer's patients die before the patient does because of the stress and not having been given the education. So those were the two I went after. Eric, I love him. He is a academic, and so he said we're also going to get consensus with every researcher in the world on how we're going to do this. I said, you know, consensus is not a word I've used over the years, and probably won't be now, but he's almost pulled it off, which has made it possible. So we put together today, if you read, you'll see this year, our federal government approved $1.6 billion for expenditures for research. And by the way, the UK, where we're also involved, £400 million, in Canada, 350 million Canadian dollars, all focused on Alzheimer's as a cure. None of that existed 10 years ago. We then went after the pharmaceuticals from a private standpoint. We actually ended up in a contest with them to pick the ones that would be most likely to help us prevent Alzheimer's. It's interesting, today we're doing 3 vaccines, one from each different organization. And then we went after the nonprofit, the social side, to raise funds. And over the years, Mary Jo and I, we got married when we were 18, so we've had a lot of time to raise money. And actually, she still takes my money. I get $40 a week. She gave me I think I got an increase this year to 42. But so we went out to raise $250 million to be able to match the private, public, and social. Today, that study, as I said, is approaching $900 million. We have over 150,000 people involved in the study. As you would expect, the placebo group and then the 3 that are under the vaccines. The one vaccine is now in year 2, and so far no one that has high probability of getting Alzheimer's the way we did the testing. So far that group has none. Now that's only a 33% probability of success, but that's, as I've learned over the years, it's remarkable. So think about, I've always lived with, and great leaders always do this, I've always lived with the idea that impossible is only the big, and it should be thought of. So we said we were going to do it, we laid out how we were going to do it, and today we're doing it. And it's been such a joy to bring the 3 together. It's been such a joy to see there is hope, real hope for the future with that. The things I think are common as a leader while we did that, I've always operated with 100% respect of every person. That's where I start. By the way, I operate with 100% trust of every person. Always have. I always get the question, well, that doesn't work. And yeah, it does work. It works really well. And do I have some folks that didn't keep my trust? Sure, but maybe a half or 100 to 1%. So 100% trust of every person. Treat every person with equal dignity and respect. We operate with facts as our friends, which may be the biggest challenge our country has today. Because, I get up pretty early every morning, about 3, and I do exercises. And the way I do it, I do 21 minutes of exercise. 7 minutes of CNN, 7 minutes of Fox, and 7 minutes of MSNBC. And I encourage you to do that, because you'll have no clue what's really going on. At least you'll have an opportunity to make your own opinion on it. So that's how I start my day. But facts as our friends is so great. We laid out with that case I'm giving you with the Alzheimer's situation, we laid out a fact study that would get us early approval with the FDA if we execute everything. We've done that. Also always have operated with, if I had $1 left, I'd spend it on training and development for my people. We've done an enormous amount of that with Alzheimer's, but I've done that with every company I've led. And that's why with Eric, I congratulate all of you for doing what you're doing. The more you do, the more you learn. I've had fun. I've taught at 7 different universities. The most challenging job I've ever had in my life was in between CEO jobs. I was the interim dean of business at Georgetown. I was so glad to get back to where I could tell people what to do in business. But it was great fun. It was a good experience. But I think that's the great way to learn. Teaching is the best way to learn. So that's another one I think that that's critical for us as leaders. Then I always operate with, I want to know every person in our organization needs to have an intense external intellectual curiosity about our customers. I served for 2 years with Bill Clinton. I was running NCR. He called me and asked me to help him do the Reinvent the Government. You may not remember that program. I worked with Al Gore on that for 2.5 years. And it was so interesting because one night in Gore's office, 5 of the cabinet members were there. Our goal was a simple one: define who the customer was. 5 cabinet members, right? And Vice President Gore. And I thought that would take 5 minutes. In about 15 minutes, we're having a discussion about whether it's Bill Clinton, whether it's Al Gore. And I raised my hand and I said, "It's me, I'm the taxpayer." And that night, a guy that was at the time Secretary of Defense, wonderful guy out of Wisconsin, gave me a ride back so I could do my other job during the day at NCR. He said, "I never thought about that. It never occurred to me why we need to define customers." He's a great guy, passed now, but think about that with everything. When I started nonprofit leadership, I always say, who is our customer? What do they want, and how do we want to help them? So that's the world I've lived with. That's the world that creates great leaders. 2 other things is that at the end of the day, the real question of how good we are as leaders in any one of these sectors is how much better does it keep getting after we're done? How much better does it keep getting after we're done? John's going to start seeing that pretty quick. And I'm seeing it now. I pay a lot of attention, as you can imagine, to IHS Market. It went public in 2006, $16 a share. Closed yesterday at 192, and it's gotten better both quarters since I'm under top. And I'm hoping it gets better forever. That's the real measure of great leaders. Then the other one is surround yourself with wonderful people. I now have 59 people are CEOs that work for me. To me, that's the ultimate measure. Do we create great people? Because the minute you retire, it lasts at least a day when they call you to see, ask you a question, right? It's what's going on, what you've done, what you're going to create for the future that makes it great. Last point, what I've always done is reach out to the future, set very aggressive goals, and work backwards. Work backwards from the future, because anything can be accomplished. I believe each of you can do that and will do that in the years ahead. So the last thing I do, I think work is play with a purpose. I tell people if you're at work and not having fun, we need to help you find something else. And I believe laughter is an instant vacation. It's great. We can do that every day that we're together. I congratulate you. I give you those thoughts, and I hope you all enjoy great success for many years to come. Now my pleasure is I get to introduce my friend, John Hickenlooper, governor, and prior to governor, mayor, prior to that. He actually started, how many of you know what John's formal education was? Geology. And you know what was the greatest thing that happened? We had a downturn in oil. And therefore, John had an opportunity to do something different. And he did. He started the breweries. And then went on to become what I think is the ultimate role model example of civic leader, both as mayor and now as governor. I keep trying to get him to figure out how to get him run the country right now. I'd be happy if he was, for many reasons, including, if you think about John, there's a million things I love about him, but the one that I so respect is he's never run a negative ad. He will not do any of the, what's the word, nonsense that goes on today. And I admire him for it. I have to tell you one quick story as I bring him up. John asked me in September 2013 to the club. And I was in the car, I was on the way to dinner when he called. I told him not to early the next morning. Roxy Blake was his chief of staff. Said I'd call her. She gets up as soon as I did. John didn't get up that early, but just teasing. And so that morning, I got up. I run about 4 miles every day. So I got up, I went out by our swimming pool. I was tying my shoestring. I looked up, and here's a bobcat with a rabbit in his mouth. This far from me, growling. The way I think I did, I took one step back and fell in the swimming pool. So I called Roxy and I said, this is a God way. I believe in God ways. You want me to go to work, healthy, recover, and make the water go away? I just fell in the swimming pool for the first time in my life. And 2 hours later, I was in with John. And it was the greatest joy I've ever had. He's a wonderful leader, and we should be very proud of everything he's done, but particularly what he's made happen here. So, John, good to see you again, buddy.
And I couldn't quite hear how many CEOs worked for you? 59 individuals that came up through under his mentorship became CEOs. So all the mentors that are here to do the pinning today, you got a ways to go. I want to first make a couple quick thank yous. One is to Ryan Heckman and Eric Matisek. I'm not sure where they are, but they are Quarterly Forum personified. This thing wouldn't have ever happened without their I wasn't trying to avoid any celebrity. I sometimes tell Ryan I think he's just trying to avoid additional responsibility. Says that's not true. Also, Eugene Smith is here from McKinsey, and Katie Kramer is here from the Venture Foundation. Can they stand? Katie, and where's Eugene? At the very beginning, without the Venture Foundation, without McKinsey, this really wouldn't have happened. This notion that you really could create a fellowship, a process by which people could begin to navigate back and forth between this trinity, right? The nonprofit sector, the government sector, and the business sector. And my experience in public service, and again, the fact is I never ran for anything in my whole life until I was 49 years old and I ran for mayor. Still not quite sure how I got talked into it, except that I know I was guaranteed I'd never win. But that first step where I kind of came in and I went around, I thought I was going to look at running, and I went around and visited other mayors, both in the suburbs and around the country. And it was so different from what I had always been led to believe, what I'd always seen in the media, what I'd heard stories of. I met a lot of people spending a lot of time trying to improve their communities. And they were, a lot of people working with a lot of other smart people. And at least from the outside, it looked like they were having fun. I wasn't sure, they might have been faking it, but I didn't think so. So when I ran, I don't do anything halfway. I really didn't expect to win. But I knew that if I had that opportunity, I was going to give it my heart and soul, and I was going to try to bring in people, regardless of whether they were Republicans or Democrats, whatever their background, I was going to try and get the best talent that I possibly could bring in and make sure that everything we did was as apolitical as possible. In other words, how do we make decisions based on the facts, based on data, that overall will create the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And it's now been 15 years, almost 15 and a half years, and it is, for those of you who are getting pinned, I know there are a lot of the fellows from the first couple years of this fellowship. If your time comes, I can all but guarantee you that this will be, for me, it's been really the greatest joy of my life. Not just because you get to make a difference, but because you get to work with these amazingly talented people, and the people you get to meet and the relations you make, and your ability to fold paper is remarkable. And I want to make sure I didn't forget. So, and I think he's here, still here. Where's Mike Hartman? Mike Hartman was here, maybe he can't speak on. Mike Hartman was in this a couple years ago as a fellow, and he's now the head of the Department of Revenue for the state of Colorado, and doing a bang, kick-ass job. I think that's not vulgar, right? That's slang. Chris Franz, who's with our Economic Development Council, and Kristen Todd, who's with our Workforce Development Council. Both of them went through, along with Mike, our first group of fellowships. And each time I see them, I feel this kind of, I don't know, a wave of inspiration, because they are part of this DNA now, this notion that we will get great leaders to not just be in the private sector, but to come into government and to come into the nonprofit world. Although we have, you break it down, and I know Jeff Smart didn't make it here. I did not see any of you who have not had the chance to meet Jeff Smart, who lives in Denver and has a company, GH Smart Company, consulting firm on who to buy. He wrote a book called Who, single best book I've ever read on how to hire senior staff. And he came and donated his time when I first got elected governor to make sure we got real talent, and was just breathtaking, but he couldn't believe that we didn't have 7 class 1 candidates for every cabinet position. We didn't. We'd have 1 or 2 really, really talented people. And he kind of started this notion of and he had a study that demonstrated, that showed, I think 70, 80, if you look at all the graduate degrees in business or organizational management, advanced degrees having to do with enterprise of any kind, that 78%, 80% are in the private sector, 12 or 14% are in the nonprofit sector, and like 10% are in government. And we were just kind of astounded. And so he, along with the Quarterly Forum, really helped create and imagine what this all became. And I think my time in the public sector, I can say that one of the great benefits, the most lasting initiatives, the greatest successes we've had are when you have nonprofits and business working with the private sector, working with the government sector. And often the government's role is really to convene, right? When we did we're the only state to have ever done methane regulations to cut, really control fusion of emissions out in the oil fields. And we did that by we kind of got the environmental community and the oil and gas community in the same room, and then we stepped out of the way and let them, and it took about 13 months. My wife said it was like watching 2 cats in a bag. I guess I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, it's lasting change when you have the nonprofits with government, with business, and all 3 segments of society are coming up to the right compromises and creating the policy together. It really does make change. So enough of that. This is, I think, an awesome day for our class. Getting pinned. I'm not sure we shouldn't have a better thing than saying we're getting pinned. Sort of sounds like freshman year in college in my dad's generation. Anyway, it is an awesome day for the state. It's certainly an awesome day for our future. Getting great leaders prepared and understanding that working in government is exciting and fun, and that most of the time the media doesn't drag you through the mud. So I think now we get to do the actual pinning. I think that if I'm doing this wrong, yes, they're not. Want to make sure. It's a busy day. I had a busy day. So if the fellows and sponsors could stand up. And I don't know where did Albert Rosenthal is around here somewhere. Where'd Albert? I have to give a special shout out to Albert just because he's my wife's boss. We're especially glad you are here. Very, very grateful. Hey, again, executive privilege. All right, so each person's going to get pinned by either a CEO, a chairman, or a mentor. So now, instead of a drum roll, maybe not a drum roll, please pin. Awesome. Momentous moment. And also, before I stand down, sit down, can I get I know there are a number of, not everybody, but many people from last year's class are here, last year's graduates. Could you all stand and take a round of applause? Stand up, stand up. All right, so I'm done. I think, you know, I had a little count on my phone. I've got 195 days left in this term. Not that I'm worried, not that I'm fearful. Actually, now that the primary is over, I feel kind of liberated. Like, now I can do anything I want. But I do think that this program is going to be a legacy that's going to be around for a long time. And I know, I can tell you, there's a half dozen other states right now that are looking at how do we do this, how do we take the format that was created here in Colorado. And I mean, governors love to steal each other's ideas. Nothing makes a governor prouder than to have that, that kind of creative, laudable larceny take place on one of your ideas. So anyway, I'm going to try to sit down. I'll turn it over now to the Governor's Fellowship Honorary Class Representative, Nilesh Parikh.
Good evening, everybody. So when Eric asked me to say a few words, he left out two things. One, it was going to be a circular stage, and two, I was going to have to go up to the governor. Well, you win some, you lose some. So as soon as he told me about the circular stage, I thought to myself, this is my moment to do my best emulation of a Cirque du Soleil person. Then I had a moment of clarity. I don't have that kind of talent, so I'm not going to make an attempt. So instead, you get me talking about three things. The first thing I want to talk to you about is gratitude and respect. The second thing I want to talk to you about is conversation and community. And the third thing I want to talk to you about is our way forward. So I want to start the way the others have started in terms of gratitude and respect. First of all, I want to give a thank you to the governor and other forward-thinking leaders that are too long of a list to name, including the former living governors, including folks like Christine Nealand, who were part of the Leaders Initiative that was a precursor to this whole program, and also a special thanks to Katie, Ashley, who I see over there, I think, and Eric. And I'll brag on Eric here for a minute. So Eric was in his first week at Quarterly Forum and our first day as fellows. So Eric did a phenomenal job at pretending he knew what he was doing. And also, through the 9 months, did a remarkable job of being a great partner to us and making the program as good as it could be. So thank you very much, Eric. All right, so let's move on to respect. We had 50, I think I counted 50 or 55 people in front of us over these past 6 or 7 months during the immersive sessions that we had. And I think all of us coming in had a great deal of respect for how hard it must be to succeed in the public sector. But I don't think we really understood how hard it was. And so while we learned a ton from the speakers on key issues to the state, I think the lesson that most of us learned above all of that is it's a remarkably complex system. And we have courageous, competent, and caring leaders at the helm at every level in state government. And it was an honor to get to spend time with them. And I know all of us in the program feel like, wow, this is something I would want to do, but something I'm not sure I could do in all the right ways. So respect is a big thing that I think we all learned and appreciate with the program. So I want to talk to you now about conversation and community. So this group of fellows were a pretty heterogeneous group, so we got together, I think 7 or 8 times during the program. If you're not familiar with the setup of the program, I'll be brief. It's a combination of experience, exposure, and education. So that includes shadowing, it includes a formal curriculum, and it includes some opportunities to work on, we call them intensive-thons, so basically a consulting-related project that we would propose to senior officials in state government. And through that process, there was a lot of conversation and constructive debate. And what I really appreciated about the experience is everyone was free to express freely, challenge productively, and then also, basically debate in any way they wanted to debate and be vulnerable. So I thought to myself, I'm a little embarrassed to share this with all of you. I don't do enough of that in my life, and I don't know if all of you do, but when I find myself in a room with people who have a a starkly different opinion than me on an issue that might be a little sensitive, we probably talk about what's easy to talk about, not what's most challenging to talk about. And I think in this group, we made a decision subconsciously, probably because the norms we have as a group, to listen deeply and to listen freely without judgment. And so I thought, why don't we do more of that? And of course, you could say, yeah, but you were part of a program of 20 people, you got pinned, it was this little formal spiel, of course it was a safe environment. But I think we can and we should have more discussions like that. And I think that that's one of the things I appreciated most about the program. So it is about creating a sense of community. So as I think about that, and I think about the way forward, in terms of the way forward, I would say to last year's class, because I see Luis is here, Eric's here, there's a number of other people, to this year's class, so my cohort, and also to next year's class, and to all of you in the audience. And some of you I'm preaching to the choir for sure, I'm totally out of turn saying this, but I challenge every single person in this room to listen more deeply, to challenge productively, to lend a hand out to someone you wouldn't normally talk to understand the views, and to do it informally or formally, because there's people in the program for whom I think, especially with the change in administration, this might be your year, where you dive in head first into taking a full-time public sector role. For others of us, it might be a few years from now. Maybe we'll dive into it with one toe in, check out the water, pull back, and maybe at some point we'll belly flop in for time's right. But regardless of where you are in that journey, that's my challenge to each of you, it's a challenge to myself, is to continue the momentum and find every opportunity that you can to engage people, to listen differently, and engage people that maybe aren't being engaged. So Eric, thank you for having me up here. Turn it to you.
Thank you, Neelish, for giving that great inspiration and call to action for each of us. How about one final round of applause for all of our former and future Governor's Fellows. And now we're going to switch gears. We're talking about all three sectors, so let's move on to the social sector. And it's my distinct honor to welcome our next keynote speaker to talk about the Social Enterprise Fellowship. Laura Barton is one of the most amazing community leaders we have in Colorado. Laura went to Smith College, grew up in Tucson, Arizona, but really found her way to philanthropy and community service and really diving in and working for the community when she moved here with her husband, where she raised 3 great children, and spent a lifetime committing herself to various causes like education, healthcare, reproductive health. And she has served on some of the best boards we know in the state of Colorado, the Denver Foundation, Children's Hospital Colorado Foundation, of which she's now serving as interim executive director, stepping in when they asked. So Laura Barton is one of the most inspiring community leaders, and I hope you take great pleasure in listening to her. And she's there.
It's really my pleasure to be here this evening and celebrate all of you. I'm delighted to also celebrate the partnership between the Barton Institute and the Quarterly Forum. Together, we established the Social Enterprise Fellows as one of the most exciting new programs at the University of Denver. A year ago, the Barton Institute envisioned the Social Enterprise Fellows as a cohort of 12 graduate students from a wide range of disciplines, coming together to learn about social enterprise and to engage to improve social enterprises. We were thrilled when Quarterly Forum stepped in to provide the funding that made the first year possible and has now extended support for an additional 5 years. Thank you so much for that. Our first year was incredible. The first cohort of 12 fellows came from 7 different DU graduate programs. We had fellows from the schools of law, business, international studies, economics, environmental studies, education, and the arts. The fellows brought their diverse perspectives together, first in the classroom, where they investigated the underpinnings of social enterprise, and then took their knowledge into the field. The fellows were deployed to a wide range of social enterprises in our community. One pair of fellows worked with Access Art Gallery on Santa Fe, which employs and represents disabled artists. The fellows helped Access improve their corporate art sales program. Anna Bernhardt, a second-year law student at the University of Denver, helped them with a legal audit and solidify their operational structures. While Jamie Butler, who just earned her Master's of Fine Arts from DU, created a lookbook to boost corporate sales. We had fellows working at the Women's Bean Project to improve client services and experience. Other fellows created business plans for social enterprises at the Emily Griffith Technology College and Groundwork Denver. Still others worked with the Denver Foundation to document the growth model for social enterprises and to examine the breadth and depth of the social enterprise community in Metro Denver. We at the Barton Institute are so proud of these inspiring young leaders. Our goal is to bring resources from the University of Denver and the greater community together to make a difference in the lives of people that face difficult challenges. We know that our fellows have done this work well and will continue to do so, and this work is successful really thanks to the partnership with Quarterly Forum and its mission to grow tomorrow's leaders. As we look toward the second year of the Fellows Program beginning this upcoming fall, we are thrilled to have another terrific group of students from 8 of the graduate schools at the University of Denver. Today's Quarterly Forum Social Enterprise Fellows will become tomorrow's community leaders, taking action to improve our society, each one of them working with the skills and passions honed this year. In Colorado and across the globe, they will all be dedicated to making our world a better place. And I know and hope that all of us here tonight are inspired by their work, and we're inspired to take action of our own, as each of us can make a difference in the corner of the community we live in and beyond, as the Quarterly Forum Social Enterprise Fellows have. Now I'm pleased to introduce a member of our inaugural class of the Social Enterprise Fellows. Alex Lustig is earning her master's degree in international human rights at the Joseph Corbell School for International Studies at DU. Professionally, Alice works for DU in the Office of the Chancellor as the project manager for the implementation of the university's strategic plan, DU Impact 2025. Alex, please join me on the stage.
I remember sitting in the classroom on our first day of the fall quarter, and we all briefly had to introduce each other. We were a little nervous, a little embarrassed, mixed in with a little bit of pride. As one by one we introduced our research interests, our life experiences, and our passions, I was floored that I was in the same room with all of these movers and shakers. I was blown away by the power of the minds that all dedicated themselves to the public good. Rachel had done 2 Peace Corps tours. Eric had worked with the homeless youth in Orange County, and Sajid had started an early childhood education social enterprise in India before deciding to pursue his PhD. It was humbling, it was inspiring, and it set the tone for an incredible year full of lessons and opportunities. The Social Enterprise Fellowship was the first truly interdisciplinary experience I got to have at the University of Denver, and I will be forever grateful to the men and women who walked along beside me. We grew individually and as a cohort in ways that were very unexpected. I had the privilege of working with the Women's Bean Project, which is a very prominent social enterprise in Denver, with my innovative partner, Jennifer Wilson, who is pursuing her PhD in social work. Over the course of 5 months, we conducted research to analyze their outreach strategy and their recruitment strategy. Specifically, we looked at the demographic and other environmental factors impacting the Women's Bean. Through our project, we were able to meet with over 35 community members in the Denver metro area whose work was related to the work of the Women's Bean. We met with many unsung heroes in our community, and one of them struck out to me. While I was meeting with a probation officer and re-entry specialist who had worked in the corrections field for her entire life, we started talking about food. And she mentioned that a couple of years ago, she lost her job and had to take a job that paid lower than the one she had been working at. And so she was no longer able to treat herself to an occasional dinner out at the Olive Garden. Now she's been promoted and she has a great job, but she went on to say that no matter how much money she was being paid, she knew that she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. She has dedicated her life to helping people re-enter their communities successfully. Again, I have this overwhelming feeling of deep humility, incredible pride, and an increasing frustration that women like her are not paid enough to do this life-changing work for community members. This is what the fellowship taught me. Denver is incredible because its people are amazing. I get caught up in this dominant narrative where negative evil is taking over our life and there's no light in sight. I'm paralyzed by the oppression that people face on a daily basis all around the world. But this fellowship allowed me to see the hard work of people in our own community who are doing all that they can to make a small corner of the world a little bit brighter. The people in our cohort, the people at Women's Being, and all of the other community members we were fortunate to work with illuminated these unsung heroes. The fellowship reminded me, and I hope it reminded the rest of my cohort, that this world, even in the face of atrocious human rights violations, is full of hope and possibility. It often just takes the magic of a small group of people dedicated to human beings to make that the dominant narrative of our lives. So to the next cohort of Social Enterprise Fellows, I'm envious. I cannot believe that our experience is over, and I'm so excited for where this will take you. I could tell you a million stories, and I could offer some probably less useful advice, but I'll say one thing. Spend the time getting to know one another within your cohort, within the Barton Institute, within Quarterly Forum, with your partner organization, all of the amazing people that you'll meet along the way. Those relationships are what's going to matter. I am thrilled that you get to experience the magic of this fellowship. Thank you to the inaugural cohort of Social Enterprise Fellows. This experience obviously would have been nothing without them. Thank you to David Miller, Rebecca Arnaud, Jenny Carpenter, and Tanya Sweet for everything you do. It is so much fun to watch you live out your passions. Thank you to Laura Barton for her generous gift, the founding gift of the Barton Institute. Your generosity amazes me and humbles me, and I am so fortunate to have been a beneficiary of your pure heart. And thank you to Quarterly Forum for funding us, but more importantly, for welcoming us into your QF family. It's been such an honor to get to know many of you, and your energy, your optimism, and your vision for the future is so incredibly inspiring. So thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Alex. That was spectacular. And truly it shows the QF investment in these students at various DU grad schools, because they're part of the future generation of leaders who are going to be leading our state. I hope I work for Alex someday. I don't know about any of you. And also, just to make one final point on the Social Enterprise Fellowship, it's very unique compared to the Governor's Fellowship and what we're about to hear from McKinsey Academy, in that it's truly starting leaders when they're young. And we are very proud to be a part of that mission. So thank you, Laura, Rebecca, David Miller, for the work you do. And now we're moving on to the McKinsey Academy QF Fellowship, our final, but certainly not least important fellowship program. This program is life-changing, and you'll hear a little bit more about it shortly from our two tag team phenomenal guest speakers, including Sherry Hefner, who has flown in here from Boston, who runs the entire McKinsey Management Program for the firm. The McKinsey Management Program is the online content that is critical at the heart of the McKinsey Academy QF program. So Sherry believes in this program so much that she came here to see the community that QF has brought. We're really thankful that you came. And I'm also thrilled to introduce Pam Logan. And Pam is an expert at McKinsey Academy. Pam's been with the firm for 5 years. She was one of the founding members of the Denver office, which started about 5 years ago. And I won't steal Pam's thunder, but it's the fastest growing firm in the history of McKinsey & Company. That's a big deal, and it's right here in Denver. And so Pam really leads the people development for both the clients and internally in McKinsey. So we are so thrilled to have both Sherry and Pam here to talk about the fellowship and welcome our new class. Sherry and Pam.
So I'm sorry to everyone who was expecting Eugene tonight, and I am not Eugene. And he's sorry he couldn't be here tonight too. He is off delivering wonderful impact as he does. And for example, in bringing McKinsey to Denver and starting our Denver office. And I am so thankful that Eugene did that. When I joined the firm, we didn't have a Denver office, so I joined our Cleveland, Ohio office. So thank goodness Eugene brought me from Cleveland to Denver, where I'm going to stay. So when we started our Denver office, we knew it was going to be easy to get the people. We've got the sunshine, the mountains, and a great airport. We've got the people. But it was also really important for us to develop the relationships and the partnerships in Denver and throughout Colorado. We really wanted to be a part of this community. So we are so grateful for the partnership with Quarterly Forum to allow us to do so. We've got Ryan and Eugene getting together and they start scheming. What happens when we take the community and the network of Quarterly Forum and we pair that with the management skills and the leadership skills of McKinsey? And we created the Quarterly Forum McKinsey Academy Fellowship. And it has been such a privilege working with Quarterly Forum to invest in the next generation of Colorado's leaders and really work to strengthen our community.
I didn't want us to show the stage. Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Sherry. It's such a pleasure to be here to celebrate all of you, the future of Colorado, future leadership of Colorado. It's an honor. I'm also very excited to shine the light a little bit here on the 2018 cohort of the McKinsey Academy Fellowship and share a bit about what all they did in this program. And kind of taking a step back and looking at the vision that we had for McKinsey Academy about 4 years ago. It was really about, unlocking the potential of individuals and organizations, but also of communities. And from that, we really built our vision and our mission, and shortly thereafter started working with Quarterly Forum. And I think what we're most excited about celebrating here is the hard work and the impact and the way that the 2018 cohort worked together. What they did was really prioritize their own professional development, not just their own, but of each other. And I think you'll hear some stories about that in a bit. But they really did work as a community and as a cohort to learn and grow over this past year. And they really did live into the vision that we've had at McKinsey Academy about unlocking the potential of people and communities. So thank you to Quarterly Forum. And again, it's an honor to be here. I wanted to just give you a little sense of what this group did over the past year. And they worked through, not just some coursework, but they did a lot of networking together. In fact, they had monthly leadership huddles where they got together and networked and worked and shared feedback with one another. In fact, I think the attendance rate was near perfect. I mean, it was really amazing and a testament to the community and how the group worked together. The type of work that they did was everything from taking strategies that they were working on at work and bringing it to a small group of each other and getting feedback on those strategies using some of the tools and the frameworks that they learned in the program. They also took business challenges or problems that they were working on at work and brought those together and got feedback from one another on how they can, deconstruct those challenges and turn them into problems that they can solve and find the root causes of. They also worked on their communication styles, so I know they got to kind of practice the art of storytelling and communicating with conviction and learn some frameworks there. And then lastly, I know they also did a lot of work around team leadership and team management. So everything from bringing a coaching challenge that they have and getting feedback from one another on a coaching plan and learning more about how to coach and develop others. So it was quite a robust program. And with that, I think we would like to ask the 2018 cohort to please stand up so that we can celebrate you and congratulate you for all of And you're officially now Alumni Fellows, which means you can practice that leader as teacher and help evoke the wisdom that you've learned to the next cohort for 2019. And we're really excited about that. Actually, it's going to be an evolution of the program. We are going to do a retreat in the fall, and we're going to invite you, if you haven't heard yet, we're going to invite the alumni to come and share your wisdom. Also be a part of mentoring this group. So with that, I would like to ask the 2019 cohort to please stand up so that we can welcome you to And I think we've got some journals for you, but perhaps that'll be, okay. Back to Pam. Thank you.
It feels so wonderful to see what started as a vision turn into a celebration of our first class and the launch of our second class. And at McKinsey Academy, our mission is to accelerate the transformation of individuals, organizations, and communities by unlocking the potential of people. It's all about the people. And I'm so excited to introduce one of those incredible individuals, Ann Zexer. She was part of our program. Ann is a Denver native. She temporarily snuck away to the East Coast just to grab some of their education, but bring it back here to Colorado. She has served our public sector by working for the Colorado Supreme Court, and for the past 11 years has been practicing law at Holland & Hart. And we were so lucky to have Ann as part of the program. She was constantly bringing her insight and her energy to our group discussions and being really thoughtful about how to take those leadership skills and people development skills back to her law firm. So with that, I will pass it over to Ann Zexer.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Sherry. It was so amazing to have access to McKinsey's incredible programming and two of the sharpest professionals McKinsey has here in Denver. Thank you so much for taking that opportunity to build us into Ryan Heckman, evil genius who made it happen. I don't know who you had to kill to get that fellowship in, but we all appreciate your willingness to commit unspeakable acts on behalf of leadership in Colorado. So, great man. I also, when I first started going through this speech, and I want to thank you, it took like 12 minutes. And I'm not always had the last name Zexer. I did recently, years ago, very into it, but I am also, I've had enough opportunities to be the only person standing between a group full of people and an open bar to know that I'm going to try to keep this brief. That said, as a mother of 3 young children, I almost never have even 2 people sitting quietly and listening. So, I have some things to say, but I'll try to do it quick. So for my thank yous, I abbreviated them, but so I'm just going to say 3-ish things about people that I want to acknowledge. Eric Hockenbeck and Ashley Kaderis. Heavy lifting, hurting cats, spoke in our huddle. Some of them are here tonight. I think Jenna House is here. You are. Nancy Phillips, Kathy Hayden Brown, I think, is here. Frankie Bennett and Jerry, of course. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us. My few things I've said about your candor, wisdom, ups, downs, and aha moments. Your participation in this is priceless. Thank you so much. And to my cohort, impressive, collaborative, engaged. I am so lucky to have the opportunity to work and learn with you. So I want to just quickly cover some highlights of the Kinsey Academy. I have to say, don't take this the wrong way, but everybody in this room is here in some combination of I think three things. Extremely hard work, generally good instincts, and in no small measure of dumb luck. We've had a lot of things break in our favor, and we've been able to manage a certain amount of success. But what really neat to the McKinsey Academy, and I think to the rest of my cohort too, was the idea that we wanted to understand more what is the differentiator between successful people and next level leaders. And like any resourceful adult who needs to figure something out, zettabytes of information are just a Google search away. I didn't Google that, obviously, but I was kind of thinking about, what is it when I think about leaders and what is it that leaders do well? The word that kept on coming up in connection with things I was thinking about was the word consulting. And so I could have Googled this, I'm sure, but instead I picked up an actual physical dictionary, and because my tech industry is like cringing and nagging all at the same time, but I did. I looked at a dictionary, and the definition of cultivate is to apply oneself to improving or developing one's mind or conduct. Improving or developing one's mind or conduct. And so I started thinking about, what is it about a natural, sort of next level leader's mind that's different? Because we're just kind of garden variety successful. And the McKinsey Academy taught me what I think is some really important distinctions between the next level leader and people who are just really good at what they do. Work hard, have good instincts, have fun. And the next level leader is somebody who has they developed this arsenal of proven strategies for communication, for team building, for business strategy, and for problem solving that they have used and tailored and honed to the point that they can habitually, systematically, and consistently apply it, even in a world that is constantly changing at an ever-increasing pace. So a successful person will talk. We're good at talking. Really good at talking. But the next level leader will communicate. And it will communicate in order to galvanize and inspire. Successful people make a conscious effort to give praise and constructive feedback whenever they can. But a next level leader understands the difference between feedback, coaching, and mentorship. And they know how and when to use those to develop the next group of leaders. Successful people make great tactical day-to-day decisions. But next level leaders understand the structure of the market, the behaviors of their competitors and other actors in the industry, and their own organization's position and advantages within that ecosystem, and they use that insight to develop and implement large-scale, big bet strategies that leverage the relative strengths of their organization to pull ahead of the rest of the market. When faced with a problem, limited time and resources to which to solve it, successful people gather whatever data they can in the time that they have. They tap into their own truly good instincts, and they grind away the problems with their good solution. But a next level leader takes a problem, defines the issue, decides who and what you're going to need in order to reach a solution. They control for their own biases that might be problematic, and they come up with an actionable solution that they can implement in the amount of time that they can. So that's what the mind of the next level leader. The thing that was so amazing about with children, friends, time at the river, time on a hiking trail, time with a bike, time with a good book. And the next level leader understands that they need to create a culture. Word nerds, same Latin root as cultivate, but a culture that is a pattern of doing things, a centralized shared philosophy that defines a group's character. They create a culture that is meaningful and that has a sense of shared mission where people come and they can have a sense that they have a role in it, they matter, and that what they're doing matters too. And so a successful person has a lot of connections. A next level leader cultivates those connections into relationships that are meaningful and important. Successful people encourage participation and ask for feedback, but a next level leader fosters a sense of ownership, engagement, and alignment around a shared mission that creates opportunities for others within the organization to step in and lead. Successful people solicit ideas, take the good ones, toss out the lousy ones, and maybe at some point, people with the bad ideas learn to hush. But next level leaders understand the importance of a bad idea. And I'm not one of those like, oh, there's no such thing as a bad idea. There are bad ideas. There are terrible ideas. But a next level leader understands that these bad ideas, to allow me to go a little too far with this cultivate thing, are the fertilizer from which great ideas can spring forth. And they don't silence the bad ideas because some of those, if you're really listening, will convert into something great. Next level leaders also cultivate curiosity. Successful people are curious about their industry. They want to know how their organization works, what their people do, what other people are doing, and what's coming down the pipe. But I would argue that on top of that, the next level leader is also curious about what's going on within their organization. They're curious about how to reach their people, how to turn work into play, how to find out how to reach people and help them understand that they have a job to do, make sure they know what the purpose of that job is, and to know that they and what they are doing matters. Because when you can do these four things, your people are growing. And any organization converting opportunity into growth. Thank you so much. I have more to say.
Well, thank you, Ann. How about one more round of applause for our I almost left one more time, just to get up and out of the seats. I know we have a great reception for you here in a minute, and Eric Bertizek is going to come up and close for us here in a second. But I have a couple of thank yous real quick before you do. Just quickly, I want to thank our Chairman Circle as well. I thanked our 3 key partners, but our Chairman Circle is really who has helped QF grow and continue for the last almost 20 years. Aeromart Partners, Hush Blackwell, Bernstein, EKSNH, Children's Hospital Colorado, IHS, Liberty Global, United Healthcare, and I don't believe I'm missing. How about a round of applause for them? And my final thank you also, thank you, Ann, for reminding me this. We had some great individuals who volunteered their time to make sure these programs are the best in the state. And a few of them are here tonight who have truly guided me through my journey of especially Governor's Fellowship and McKinsey Fellowship. Dave Pedrino, Chief of Staff to the Lieutenant Governor, Christine Nealon, and Paul Teskey, the Dean of School of Public Affairs at CW. They are what I call the brain trust of the Governor's Fellowship, so you'll get used to seeing and hearing from them soon. And then Steve Hockhauser, who will be here, is our program chair for the McKinsey Academy Fellowship. And now, without further ado, I'd love to introduce the man, the myth, the legend. As the Governor talks about topophilia quite a bit, this gentleman, the co-chairman of QF, coined the term topomaniac because he loves Colorado and this community more than just about everyone. So I'm thrilled to welcome Eric Bertizek, co-chairman of QF.
Thank you very much. Well, we'd love to start the closing with where we began, which is with a bunch of thank yous. When we think about the heart of what Quarterly Forum stands for, it's gratitude. And first, I would love to have Katie, Eric, Jennifer, and Ashley please stand up and wave your arms. Who knows who you are. Please stand up. They're going to see this Quarterly Forum happen. I would love our vanguards to stand up. And for those who are new tonight that don't know who our vanguards are, there are mentors that engage us, that are the ones we look up to, the ones we aspire to be. And so our vanguards, please stand up, vanguards in the room. So I'm going right to our right, Norris, Jerry Stroud, Nancy, standing. Our Citizenship Award medal winners, please stand up. These are the medal winners that the Governor has crowned as the best of the best. Please stand up. Our board members who have guided the organization over time, both to help us create the fellowship as well as Quarterly Forum, our board members, please stand up. I think some of them are standing in the back. Thank you. And Ryan Heckman and Katie Heckman of the Heckman Foundation, stand up. Those who got to know Ryan, it's obvious that he's able to find value in things that never look the way when he finds them. Whether it's businesses, or whether it's friendships, or whether it's family members, or whether it's anything he sets his eyes to, when he puts his arms around something, he always sees the gold. And when he took over QF 3 years ago, he saw something that I don't know if any of us saw in building a leadership platform for the state. And Ryan, it's with your vision. I never know if I'm in the sidecar or if I'm driving, but I'm always screaming, never stop. You're amazing. And Jerry Stead, you're a mentor to all of us. You're a legend we look up to, and the value that you created in our community. Thank you is a puny word to even start to what you've given to us and what you've given to the community here in Colorado. Laura Barton, the beacon of our social impact world. Where is Miss Laura? So fun to watch all the work you've created for Quarterly Forum. You really have been an inspiration to all of us. And of course, Governor Hickenlooper, Governor Bowens, and we couldn't do any of this without them. So one huge last round of applause for all these helpers. So a great saying at the end is, I always know that there is a beginning. And when I heard the theme tonight about leap, the word leap, I immediately shut my eyes. And I would ask all of you to shut your eyes right now. Think about that time that you left. Could have been that first date, could have been that job, could have been asking for that raise, could have been having that first child, second child, maybe fifth child. It could have been that job that you didn't think you could have, but you asked. Could have been that company you bought that you knew you couldn't turn around, but you did. It could have been that deeply held fear that you were so scared of, but once you realized it was just something that you needed to overcome, you knew that it was yours. Open your eyes. Every time that you leapt at one of those things, were you okay? Did it work out? Did it happen the way that you wanted it to happen? Did it end up okay in the end? Most of the time, almost every time, it does. And so when we think about the word leap in the multiple quarterly forum, regardless of which fellowship you're in, we think about the opportunity for you to experience yourself, to be self-aware, to find that depth of humility that really takes you to that next level. And there's so few times in life that you have a chance to pause in your own career, in the sea of life, of raising children, or building a family, or friendships, or businesses. There's so many times you have a chance to pause. And we would encourage you in the quarterly forum to take the fellowship, and each and every time you're in that class, to pause. It's your time. Lock it off. Shut it down. Invest in yourself, your own heart, your own vision, and as Jerry talked about, the discipline to be able to commit that time to yourself, to find that leader that Amy had talked about, that next level leader that we all aspire to be. When I walked in the room tonight, I looked and said, oh my gosh, we're in a circle. What does a circle mean? It's not a circle. It's not a circle at all. It's a flywheel. And if any of us understand a flywheel, it's always really, really, really hard to start. But once it starts going, with each discussion, with each lunch, with each business partnership, with each handshake, with each meeting, with each fellowship, with each evening out, with every cocktail we're going to have downstairs, the wheel spins. And the faster the wheel spins between all three of our fellowships, the more we change the state. And the more we change the state, no one can stop us. Colorado was on the frontier in the 19th century. And as we like to say, with all of our fellows, we're once again on the frontier of the 21st. We're inspired by all that you do. And we know the faster that these fellowships spend, the more energy we're going to have in the state of Colorado to lead us to a place not only that we've never been, but not any other state could have ever dreamt that they could become. You're our future, you're our hope, you're our heart, you're our leaders, and it's just humbling to be part of this organization, to watch you fly, to watch you dream, and to watch what you're going to create in all of your fellowships. One of the quotes I shared preparing for this with Ryan was, we take care of the future best by taking care of the present now. That investment in yourself, the fellowship, the time that you spend is that investment that's right now that guarantees that Colorado is going to be the very best it can be in the future. So when you ask about the future of QF, what is it? It's really simple. It's you. It's your gratitude. It's your heart. It's your citizenship. It's your mentorship. It's the talent that you can cultivate not only in yourself but within one another. And it's that deeply held gratitude and heart that we know you wouldn't be here if you didn't have it. And as we watch you give back to your friends, to your family, to yourself, to your companies, and to your community, it's going to be amazing to watch the etchings of quarterly forum and the fellowships that you're all involved in for years and years to come. So with that, I encourage you all to leap, to jump, to let go of the pool. Whatever that fear is, attack it. Look at that person that you know you're going to be and grab it. And we couldn't be more excited to be the wind behind, to blow you down the lane, and watch all of you really, really, really achieve what we know not only what you can be, but what you dream to be. So with that, there's cocktails downstairs. We're going to celebrate all of you. We couldn't be more excited about our existing fellowships and our alums and all of the fellows that are going to follow behind us. To the three classes tonight, we're honored that we're here, and we're really, really excited to see what's next. I do have a couple elements of housekeeping. It wouldn't be proper if I didn't close with a few level details. All of you, October 11th is a really important day. It's the Governor's Celebration of Leadership. And this is going to be a special night. For those of you who are interested, there's information around tables located on the second floor, pre-purchase sponsorship tables, and of course individual tickets. I invite you to nominate those who you think should receive those awards. And so there'll be opportunities around the State Growth and Innovation Medal, the Corporate Citizenship Medal, and Public and Community Service Medal. And we most importantly just want you to attend. So tonight, we toast to you, and we're going to be thinking about this flywheel that's spinning inside of Quarterly Farm, and all the energy that you're going to just throw down on this state to show the world what Colorado can be.